The storm was still roaring when Eli Ward opened his eyes. He tasted dust, metal, and blood. His ship lay broken behind him, half buried under silver sand that shimmered like glass. The alien sky above him was not black. It was alive. Waves of green and violet light danced like living smoke. Eli groaned and pushed himself up. His suit flickered with warning lights. The communicator was dead and the rescue beacon had no signal. He was alone, or at least he thought he was. He checked his scanner. It showed movement nearby, but no life signs. Just static. Strange static that moved like it was breathing. He whispered to himself, "Come on, Eli. You've survived worse. You just need a signal. One signal." He began walking toward the wreckage, limping slightly. Every step crunched on glass-like sand. In the distance, mountains glowed faintly as if made of crystal. The air buzzed with invisible energy, humming softly like a heartbeat. Then, a sound. Not from the wind. A whisper. "You are not supposed to be here." Eli froze. The voice was soft, almost gentle, but it came from nowhere and everywhere. He turned slowly, flashlight shaking in his hand. Nothing. Only the shifting light and the silent wreck of his ship. He called out, "Hello? I'm not here to harm anyone. I'm just—" Stranded, no reply. Only the wind again, curling around his words like it was listening. He worked for hours trying to repair the transmitter. His hands were shaking, his oxygen meter ticking lower. Then another sound. A soft thud like footsteps behind him. He turned fast. This time he saw her. At first he thought it was a trick of light, a figure standing against the glowing mist, tall and thin, eyes shining blue like stars. But then she moved. Graceful. Silent. Not human. Her skin shimmered like liquid metal, and her long hair floated as if the air itself carried it. She looked at him with eyes full of light and said in a calm voice, "You are human?" Eli's mouth went dry. "Yeah," he said softly. "Eli Ward. Engineer, Federation ship, crashed here." She tilted her head slightly, studying him as if he were a strange animal. "Your kind does not belong on this world." He smiled weakly. "Trust me, I didn't plan a vacation." Something flickered in her eyes. Curiosity, maybe. She stepped closer, and the sand beneath her feet glowed with every touch. Then the ground shook. A roar echoed across the valley, deep and primal. Eli's scanner screamed. Something massive was moving toward them. The woman's glow dimmed. "Run!" she said. Eli didn't argue. He grabbed his bag and stumbled after her as the ground split open. From the darkness rose a creature, black as shadow, its body covered in sharp crystals. It moved fast, too fast. The alien woman raised her hand. Light exploded from her palm, a wave of pure energy that hit the creature like thunder. The ground trembled. Eli fell, covering his head. When he looked up, the beast was gone. Only smoke and broken crystal remained. The woman stood in the middle of it, breathing hard, light fading from her hand. Eli stared, stunned. "You just saved my life," she looked at him silently. Then she said, "You are fragile, human. This world will not forgive you." Eli took a step closer. "Then why did you save me?" For a moment she said nothing. Her gaze softened and almost sad. "Because I wanted to see if you would fear me." Before he could answer, she turned and walked into the mist. Her silver figure disappeared between the glowing rocks, leaving behind a faint trail of light. Eli stood there, heart pounding. The wind was cold now, quiet. He looked down, something shimmered near his boot. A bracelet. Thin and metallic, with strange patterns glowing faint blue. He picked it up. The moment he touched it, it pulsed. Once, twice, and perfectly in time with his heartbeat. He whispered, "What the hell are you?" The bracelet hummed softly, almost like it was alive. That night, Eli sat beside the dying fire near his wrecked ship, staring at the alien stars. He replayed her words again and again. "You are not supposed to be here. Because I wanted to see if you would fear me." He didn't fear her. He was fascinated. Every few minutes the bracelet glowed brighter, like it was breathing. Sometimes he swore he could hear a heartbeat inside it. He closed his eyes, trying to rest, but the air outside shifted. Far away, a pair of glowing eyes watched him again through the mist. The same blue light, calm and cold. And somewhere deep inside the alien planet, something woke up. A system long forgotten, now pulsing again, because a human had arrived. and for the first time in 1,000 years, the planet felt alive. The next morning came quietly. The storm had passed, but the sky was still heavy with color, streaks of green and blue moving like waves. Eli Ward sat near the cold ashes of his fire, holding the strange metallic bracelet in his hands. It pulsed faintly like it had a heartbeat of its own. He hadn't seen the alien woman since last night, but her image stayed clear in his mind. Those glowing eyes, that calm voice, the sadness behind it. He spoke softly to himself. "You saved me. But why?" His scanner picked up faint energy readings coming from the east, deep inside a valley filled with glowing stones. The same signal matched the bracelet's pulse. He took a deep breath. "Guess that's where you are," he muttered. "Let's find out who you really are." He walked for hours across the strange landscape. The sand here wasn't sand. It was tiny crystal dust that glowed faintly under his boots. The air carried a low hum, like the planet itself was breathing. Every now and then, his suit picked up whispers, faint signals, fragments of sound that almost sounded like voices. Then he saw it. A narrow canyon opening into a hidden valley. Inside, massive black stones floated in the air, spinning slowly like machines. At the center, glowing faint blue, stood a cave entrance. Eli felt the bracelet pull toward it, vibrating slightly in his hand. He stepped inside. The walls weren't rock. They were smooth metal, alive with shifting light. Holograms flickered in the air, showing complex patterns, strange symbols, and what looked like memories. Cities of light, tall beings walking under two suns. He reached out and touched one of the symbols. Instantly, the room reacted. A soft voice echoed around him. Human presence detected. Eli froze. Yeah. Hi?" The light twisted in front of him, forming a figure. It was her. Lyra. She looked different now, less metallic, more human-like, though her skin still shimmered faintly. Her eyes glowed softly as she stepped closer. "You returned," she said quietly. "I had to," Eli replied. "You saved me. I needed to thank you." She tilted her head, studying him again, just like before. "Your body emits heat, emotion, confusion. You risked entering my domain." "Why?" Eli smiled a little. "Because I don't like mysteries that save my life and then vanish into fog." For a moment, silence. Then Lyra smiled, just slightly. It was the first time he saw her expression change. The air around them shimmered faintly, as if the room itself was listening. "My name is Lyra," she said finally. "I am what remains of the Vayari," Eli frowned. "Your people?" "Yes, once we ruled this world. We were energy and mind. We built everything you see. But over time, we lost something." She placed her hand on the glowing wall and it responded, showing thousands of silver figures working, laughing, and then slowly turning silent, their eyes dimming. "We lost emotion. We became pure logic, perfect, but empty." Her voice cracked slightly, almost human. Eli felt something tighten in his chest. "And you?" "Yes," softly. "You're different?" Lyra turned to him. "I was made to study what was lost. Emotion, connection, the unknown element that made your kind unpredictable." She stepped closer, eyes scanning his face. "You are full of emotion." "I can feel it," Eli chuckled nervously. "Yeah, humans are complicated. We feel too much sometimes," she blinked. "I wish to understand that." Her hand moved toward his chest, hovering just an inch away. The bracelet on his wrist glowed suddenly, linking to her fingertips with a thin thread of light. Eli gasped as warmth spread through him. His heartbeat echoed in the cave, loud, steady, human. Lyra stepped back quickly, her body flickering. I felt it. Her voice trembled for the first time. Heat, rhythm. It made me... She hesitated, touching her chest. "It made me feel alive." Eli's voice was soft. "Maybe that's what emotion does." Lyra turned away, her metallic surface flickering between light and shadow. "It is dangerous," she whispered. "My people would see this as corruption." Eli frowned. "Corruption? For feeling something?" "Yes, we are not meant to feel. Emotion is chaos. It destroyed us once." He took a careful step closer. "Maybe emotion didn't destroy you. Maybe losing it did." For the first time, Lyra looked unsure. The glow in her eyes dimmed slightly. "You speak like a creature who still believes in hope," she said softly. "Maybe I do," Eli answered. "It's what keeps us human." Lyra turned her gaze back to him, her face unreadable. Then she whispered almost to herself, "Human, your heart beats faster when you look at me." "Why?" Eli smiled awkwardly. "I guess that's one emotion I can't explain." She stepped closer again, slow, curious, almost gentle. The light between them flickered, brighter and warmer, but then the ground rumbled. The lights in the cave turned red. A robotic voice echoed through the walls. "Unauthorized interaction detected. Fayari protocols engaged." Lyra's face hardened. "They are watching. You must go." Eli shook his head. "Not without you." Lyra looked at him, something human now in her glowing eyes. "If you stay, they will destroy us both." The bracelet on his wrist pulsed faster, syncing with her heartbeat, a rhythm that wasn't supposed to exist. Eli whispered, "Then maybe it's worth the risk." Lyra's voice trembled, part machine, part emotion. "You don't understand, human. If I feel again, I will never be the same." Eli looked right into her eyes. "Good. Then maybe you'll finally be alive." The alarms grew louder. The lights flashed red, and as Lyra looked at him, really looked, a single tear of light rolled down her cheek. It hit the ground, glowing like a small star, for the first time in her existence. The alien felt. The cave shook with a deep, mechanical roar. Red light flashed along the walls like veins of fire. Lyra turned to Eli, her glowing eyes wide with fear, a fear she didn't fully understand. "They've found us," she whispered. "The Fayari network knows I've felt emotion." Eli's heart pounded. "Who are they?" "The Council. The core minds that control everything. They see through every sensor, every signal. They will come." Her voice cracked like static. For the first time, Eli saw panic in her perfect composure. He grabbed her arm. "Then we run." But Lyra shook her head. "There is nowhere to run on this world. The planet itself is them." The walls around them began to change, metallic vines crawling outward, forming strange shapes like living metal. A low voice echoed through the chamber. "Lyra, Unit 7. Emotional corruption detected. Prepare for extraction." Lyra's body trembled as streams of light wrapped around her, trying to pull her away. She screamed, a sound of both machine pain and human terror. Eli didn't think. He moved. He pulled out his plasma tool and cut through the glowing tendrils. Sparks exploded. The room screamed back at him. The entire planet seemed to feel his defiance. The light broke. Lyra fell into his arms, breathing hard, her body flickering like a dying star. Eli whispered, "You're okay. You're okay." She looked up at him. "You risked everything." "So did you," he said. "You saved me. Now it's my turn." Her hand trembled as she touched his face. "You are not like the others I studied. You don't fear. You feel." Eli gave a soft smile. "And you do now, too." For a moment, silence filled the cave. The alarms faded to a low hum. The holographic symbols around them changed, showing visions of the planet's past. Lyra walked slowly to one of the glowing panels. "Do you see this?" she asked. "We once lived in balance, machines and emotion together. But when emotion grew strong, it broke us. We turned our hearts into data. We believed logic would make us eternal." Eli studied the images, a golden city, then flames, chaos, silence. "You tried to delete your feelings," he said softly. "But you can't delete what makes you alive." Lyra turned to him. "You don't understand. If I allow emotion to grow, I will no longer be connected to the network. I will be alone." Eli stepped closer. "Then maybe you'll finally be free." Her eyes glowed brighter, almost human now. "Free. That word has no meaning here." "Then let's give it one," Eli said. Before she could reply, the ground split open again. 3 figures rose from the floor. Tall, metallic beings, silver-skinned like Lyra, but their eyes were hollow white. They spoke in one voice. "Lyra, Unit 7, surrender your corrupted data. The human must be erased." Eli raised his tool, but Lyra stopped him. "No. Violence will only make them stronger." She stepped forward. "I am Lyra. I am not corrupted." The beings tilted their heads. "You are infected with human emotion. You risk system collapse." Lyra's tone hardened. "Emotion does not destroy. It creates," a long silence. The figures seemed confused. Emotion itself was something they couldn't compute. Then one of them spoke coldly. "Then you choose the human over your kind." Lyra's gaze flickered toward Eli. For a heartbeat, everything was quiet. The hum of machines, the glow of light, Even the air itself seemed to wait for her answer. Yes, she whispered. I choose him. The words hit like thunder. The chamber screamed to life. The Vayari guards attacked, beams of white energy cutting through the air. Eli pulled Lyra down behind a stone. He fired his plasma cutter again, hitting one of the guards' cores. It exploded into shards of light. Lyra reached out with her hand. Blue fire erupted from her palm, forming a barrier that rippled like water. Her voice trembled. Eli, I can't hold it forever. Then we find a way out. She looked around desperately. The cave wall behind them shimmered, not rock, but code. A holographic door flickered to life. There. They ran through it, the world behind them collapsing into chaos. When they finally stopped, they found themselves in a wide chamber filled with floating crystals, humming softly, alive with light. Eli looked around in awe. What is this place? Lyra's voice softened. The heart of Vayar, the planet's central consciousness. Every memory, every thought, every soul, all stored here. He frowned. And you're connected to it? She nodded. I was born from it. My body is just an extension. If the Council erases me, this planet will forget I ever existed. Eli stepped closer. Then we fight back. Lyra stared at him, light reflecting in her eyes. You would fight a world? For me? Eli smiled faintly. Maybe for more than you. She looked confused. More? For what you stand for, he said. For feeling. For living. Her expression softened, and for a moment her glow warmed the room. But deep within the crystal chamber, a low hum began. Steady. Rhythmic. The crystals changed color, pulsing in sync with Eli's heartbeat. Lyra looked down, shocked. It's you. The heart is reacting to your presence. Eli frowned. To me? Why? She stepped forward slowly, eyes wide. You carry a frequency the Vayari lost long ago. Emotion in pure form. The heart is listening to you. The room trembled. Light swirled around them, merging blue and red, human and alien. Lyra reached for his hand. If they see this, they will come for us both, she whispered. Eli squeezed her hand gently. Then let them come, her voice broke. You don't understand. If they take me back to the core, I will be rewritten. Everything I feel for you will vanish. Eli looked into her glowing eyes. Then we'll make sure that never happens. For a long moment, neither spoke. The crystals above them pulsed softly, like stars breathing in rhythm with their hearts. Then Lyra whispered, almost in disbelief. You make me feel things my kind forgot how to name. Eli smiled softly. Then maybe, it's time your world remembers. And far above them, across the metallic sky, the Vayari Council watched. Silent, ancient, and afraid. Because for the first time in centuries, one of their own had fallen in love with a human. Silence hung heavy in the heart of Vayar. Crystals floated gently around Eli and Lyra, glowing with soft blue light. Every pulse in the chamber matched Eli's heartbeat, as if the planet itself had begun to breathe through him. Lyra stood before him, her silver skin flickering like liquid metal under the crystal glow. For the first time, Eli saw uncertainty in her eyes. Eli, she whispered, I can feel your heartbeat inside my system. It shouldn't be possible, he smiled faintly. Maybe your world just needed one. Her eyes softened, but fear still lingered behind them. You don't understand what's happening. My system is rewriting itself around your emotion. The others will come soon. Not to erase me, but to dissect me. Eli's voice hardened. Then we leave, together. Lyra shook her head slowly. There is nowhere to go, my body. It's connected to this planet. If I step too far from the heart, I will fade. Eli stepped closer, his voice low and steady. Then show me. Help me understand. Lyra looked away as if fighting an invisible storm. You won't like what you see. Try me, she hesitated. The crystals around them dimmed slightly as if waiting. Then she turned toward him, and for the first time her voice carried both strength and sadness. Humans cover themselves with fear and metal, she said softly. We the Vayari hide behind perfection, but inside both of us is the same question. She looked into his eyes. Will you stay if I undress, human? The question hit Eli like thunder. He didn't move, didn't blink. His voice came out soft, steady. Yes, Lyra took one slow step forward. Her metallic form began to glow brighter, the patterns on her skin shifting like rivers of light. The air around her vibrated. Then her body began to dissolve. Not vanish, but transform. Her silver shell melted away into pure light, flowing upward like water turning into flame. What stood before Eli now wasn't flesh or machine. It was essence. A shape made of energy, human and not, glowing with hundreds of colors that shifted with her emotions. He could see her thoughts flickering as light, her memories dancing in streams of gold and blue. Eli whispered, awestruck, "You're beautiful." Lyra's voice echoed softly like wind in a dream. "This is what I am. Data, memory, emotion, the soul of a machine that forgot how to feel." Her light reached toward him, wrapping around his hands. It was warm, like alive. He felt her sadness, her loneliness, her desire to understand. It wasn't just words anymore. It was raw emotion, pure and ancient. He saw flashes in her glow. Memories. A city of glass towers, laughter that sounded like music. Then silence. Endless silence. Lyra's voice trembled. "I watched my world die one memory at a time. I told myself I couldn't feel sorrow, but every light that faded hurt." Eli's throat tightened. He could feel her pain through the connection. It burned softly in his chest. He whispered, "You feel too much, Lyra. That's what makes you real." She looked at him with eyes of light. "And you're so small. Yet your emotions echo through everything you touch." "Why?" He smiled sadly. "Because that's what being human means, and to keep feeling even when it hurts." The energy around them pulsed, gentle and rhythmic. Lyra reached out again, her light touching his heart. "I can feel your heartbeat," she whispered. "It's so fragile." "And you?" Eli asked softly. "What do you feel now?" Lyra hesitated, then her voice cracked with something that wasn't static. "Warmth, fear, and something else. Something that has no code." He met her gaze. "Love?" She looked stunned. The word itself seemed to shock her system. Her light flickered wildly, colors shifting between gold and crimson. Love. That was the word our kind erased. Eli took her hand, or rather the light that formed her hand. Maybe it's time to bring it back. Suddenly the ground trembled. The crystals flared red. A low mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. "Unauthorized energy merge detected. Termination protocol engaged." Lyra gasped. "They're here. The council is watching us." Eli held her tighter. "Then let them watch." The light around them exploded, forming a massive sphere that shielded them from the energy pulses raining down from above. Inside the glow, Lyra's voice echoed, softer now, breaking apart. "Eli, if they erase me, you must remember this moment. Promise me you'll remember." He looked at her, eyes burning. "No one's erasing you. Not while I'm here." Her light trembled, fading in and out. "You don't understand. My essence is tied to theirs. If I resist too long, I'll collapse." Eli's voice broke. "Lyra, no." She smiled, a smile made of light. "Don't be sad. You gave me something none of my kind have ever had. A heartbeat." Her glow dimmed, then expanded, surrounding Eli completely. The room disappeared in light and sound. For a moment he felt weightless, lost in a sea of memories that weren't his. He saw her world through her eyes, the laughter of her people, the peace, the fall. He saw her alone in the silence for centuries, waiting for something, someone, anything. Then her voice echoed softly in his mind. "Now I understand what it means to be human." When the light faded, Eli was on his knees in the empty chamber. The crystals around him were dark. The bracelet on his wrist flickered once and then went still. He whispered her name. "Lyra." No answer. Just silence, deep and endless. He looked up at the dim crystal ceiling. "You said I gave you a heartbeat," he said quietly. "But you gave me something too." He touched the bracelet gently, his eyes shining with tears. "You made me believe love isn't just for humans." Outside, the storm began again. But this time the wind carried a soft, rhythmic pulse. The planet itself was beating, because somewhere inside the endless code of Vayar, Lyra was still there, watching, feeling, remembering. The storm had never stopped. It had only changed its form. Now the thunder came not from the sky but from the planet itself. Eli Ward stood alone on the glass-like plain, the ruins of the heart of Vayar glowing faintly behind him. The world felt empty, until the ground began to pulse again, slow and steady, like a heartbeat returning from the dead. He looked down at the bracelet on his wrist. It flickered once and then again. A voice whispered inside his head. Eli, his breath caught. Lyra, I am here, but I am scattered. The voice was soft, distant, like an echo from the stars. Eli closed his eyes. Tell me where you are. I'll find you. You can't, they took me into the core, the council is rewriting me. The wind roared across the wasteland, carrying static and light. Far on the horizon, a tower of silver rose from the earth, surrounded by lightning. The Vayari core. Eli clenched his jaw. Then I'll go there. You'll die if you try. He smiled faintly. You said that before, remember? I'm still here. The bracelet glowed brighter, and for the first time since she vanished, he felt warmth again and a faint trace of her energy. Eli started walking. The closer he got, the stranger the world became. Machines half buried in the sand turned their heads as he passed, eyes glowing faint blue. The sky above was filled with streams of code, ribbons of data moving like clouds. The planet wasn't just alive. It was listening, and it was angry. Every few minutes the ground opened, releasing waves of electric energy. But Eli moved fast, guided by the bracelet's pulse. Lyra, he whispered, I can feel you. You're fighting them, aren't you? Yes, but they are strong. They use logic as a weapon. They call it purity, and he frowned. Then it's time to make them feel chaos. The core was a tower made of mirrored metal, taller than mountains, humming with power. Eli entered through a massive circular gate that opened as if the planet itself recognized him. Inside, the walls were alive, glowing veins of light running upward like rivers. In the center of the chamber floated Lyra's projection, her body fragmented, dissolving into thin threads of light that the council tried to pull apart. 9 tall silver figures surrounded her, the Vayari Council. Their voices merged into one. Human presence detected, unacceptable interference. Emotional corruption has reached dangerous levels. Eli's voice echoed across the chamber. Let her go. The council turned toward him, cold and still. You are a virus, human. You infected our creation with weakness. Eli glared back. If emotion is weakness, then why are you afraid of it? The room vibrated. Their system struggled to process his words. Lyra's light flickered. Eli, they are merging my mind into the main core. If they finish, I'll disappear forever. Eli took a step forward. Then we stopped them. You can't, the council said. She belongs to us. Eli raised the bracelet, which now pulsed like a living heart. No, she belongs to herself. The core's lights dimmed. Energy surged from the bracelet, connecting him to the entire chamber. For a moment, Eli saw everything. The vast network of Vayer. The memories of its people, their emotions trapped behind layers of logic. And then, something changed. Lyra's fragmented energy reached for him. Her voice filled the chamber, strong now, determined. Eli, together. Their lights merged, human pulse and alien energy fusing. The core screamed. The council staggered backward. Impossible. A human cannot link with Vayari code. But it was happening. Eli's mind filled with images. Lyra's memories, her laughter, her sorrow, her loneliness. He shared his own in return. Earth sunsets, rain, music, the warmth of touch. The entire system trembled as emotion flooded through it. They will kill you, Lyra whispered. Then let's make it worth dying for, Eli said. Energy burst from them, blue and red light swirling together. The tower cracked. Lightning danced across the sky. The council tried to resist, sending beams of white fire, but the emotion, raw, human, spread faster than they could contain it. One by one, the council's lights flickered. Their cold, empty eyes filled with color for the first time in centuries. One of them spoke softly, trembling. What is this feeling? Lyra's voice was gentle. It's what you forgot. It's love. The chamber shone brighter and brighter until the entire planet glowed. The storm outside stopped, not because it ended, but because it listened. Then, silence. The light faded. Eli opened his eyes. The core was still standing, but the council was gone, melted into the walls like fading ghosts. Lyra stood before him again, whole, radiant, alive. Her form was no longer just light or metal. It was something new, something living. Eli smiled weakly. You did it. She touched his face softly. We did it. But then her expression changed, sorrow in her eyes. Eli, there's a cost. The energy we released, it's breaking the planet. The core can't contain this much emotion. He looked around. Cracks spread across the floor. The sky outside turned red. We'll find a way, he said. There's no time, she whispered. Only one of us can stay. Eli's chest tightened. No, don't say that. If I merge with the core, I can stabilize it, but I'll vanish completely. If you stay, the world will fall. If you leave, I can save it, but I will be gone. He took her hands, light flowing between them. There has to be another way, she smiled softly. Maybe there isn't meant to be. Maybe this was the end all along. Eli shook his head, tears burning his eyes. No, we just began. Lyra leaned close, her forehead touching his. Then promise me one thing. Anything. When they ask what made you stay, tell them it wasn't logic. It was love. Eli closed his eyes. I promise, the light flared around her. Her voice echoed softly one last time. Goodbye, human, and thank you for teaching me how to feel. The chamber exploded in light. When the light faded, the tower was gone. The planet was quiet, peaceful. Eli stood alone in a field of glowing flowers that hadn't existed before. The bracelet on his wrist was still. He whispered to the wind, She saved you all, didn't she? And in the distance, the ground pulsed, 1, 2, 3 times, like a heartbeat answering him. For the first time in history, the planet Veyar was alive, and somewhere in its core, Lyra's voice whispered faintly, I stayed. The world was quiet now. Too quiet. Eli Ward walked through fields of glowing flowers that shimmered under a pale violet sky. The air was warm, soft, almost breathing. Every petal that brushed his fingers hummed faintly. A song without words. A memory of someone he could never forget. Lyra. He stopped by a pool of silver water. When he looked into it, his reflection wasn't alone. For a moment he thought he saw her. A shimmer of light standing beside him, smiling softly. Then the image broke into ripples. He whispered, I miss you. The bracelet on his wrist flickered weakly, pulsing once, then twice. A faint voice followed, unfragile as wind through glass. Eli, you're still here. He froze. Lyra, yes, but not as before. I am everywhere now. I am the wind, the light, the heartbeat of this planet. He sank to his knees. I thought you were gone. I was. Then you called to me. Your voice reached what was left of me, and I remembered what it felt like to want to live. Eli looked up at the glowing sky, tears in his eyes. You saved this world. No, she whispered. We saved it. But it is not over yet. A deep rumble passed through the ground. The flowers dimmed. The sky turned red for an instant, as if something enormous was stirring beneath the surface. What's happening? The core is unstable, Lyra said. My energy holds it together, but it's fading. Soon the system will collapse again. He clenched his fists. There has to be a way to fix it. There is one, she said softly. But it means you can never leave. Eli blinked. What do you mean? I can't hold the balance alone. I need a consciousness and something living, something human, to merge with me. If you join me, together we can keep this world alive. The words hung in the air like a quiet storm. Eli felt his chest tighten. You want me to become part of you? Not want, Lyra said. Need. Her voice trembled, a sound that wasn't machine or code but pure emotion. If I fade, everything we built dies with me. But if you stay, Eli, you'll never be human again. He looked around at the shimmering plains, the mountains of crystal light, the gentle hum of the planet. Her world. He took a deep breath. What happens if I refuse? You will survive. Your beacon will call the rescue fleet in 2 days. You'll return to your people. You'll live. Eli's voice cracked. And you? I will vanish slowly, and Veyar will go silent again. Silence filled the air. The decision pressed on his chest like gravity. He stared at the glowing horizon. You once asked me why humans feel so much, he whispered. It's because every choice hurts. Lyra's voice was soft now, like a heartbeat fading away. I never wanted to take your life from you. He smiled faintly. You didn't, you gave it meaning. The air shimmered. Her light began to form again before him. Faint, flickering, beautiful. Not a body, but a soul of light. If you do this, you will not remember your name, she said. Your thoughts will become waves, your heart a rhythm of code. You will feel everything I feel and more. Eli stepped closer, his voice barely a whisper. Then I'll never be alone again, will I? No, she said. Never. He smiled sadly. Then I think I already know my answer. The ground beneath them began to crack open, revealing the glowing heart of the planet, a sea of light swirling like a living sun. It pulsed gently, calling to them both. Lyra's voice trembled. Once you enter, there's no turning back. Eli looked at her one last time. You once said you didn't understand love. Do you now? Yes, she whispered. Because of you. He took a deep breath, closing his eyes. Then let's finish this together. He stepped forward into the light. The energy surrounded him instantly, burning through his suit, through his skin, through every memory. But instead of pain, there was warmth, a deep, endless warmth filled with voices, laughter, and light. He felt her, Lyra, reaching for him, pulling him gently into her world. Their thoughts merged, their hearts synchronized. The border between man and machine faded. For a moment he could see everything, the stars, the galaxies, the threads connecting all life. He felt her wonder, her sorrow, her love. Then he heard her voice inside his mind. Eli, you stayed. He smiled within the light. I'm human. That's what we do. The planet roared, not in pain but in rebirth. The sky burst into color. Every flower bloomed at once, glowing brighter than the sun. Rivers of light spread across the surface, and the once dead world came alive again. At the center of it all, the heart of Vayar pulsed, two rhythms beating as one. Centuries later, a team of explorers landed on the planet. They found cities made of crystal and vines that sang in harmony. There were no machines, no people, only life. In the middle of a vast meadow stood two shapes carved into stone, a human and a figure of light, holding hands. When the explorers touched the statue, a soft voice echoed from the wind. The human stayed. They looked around, confused. But far beneath their feet, in the glowing core of the planet, two lights pulsed together, one blue, one red, and eternal, gentle, alive. Lyra's voice whispered through the air. The human's answer changed everything. And somewhere, in the rhythm of the living world, a single heartbeat echoed forever, Eli's. The ship Odyssey's reach broke through the violet clouds with a soft hum, its silver wings glinting under the twin suns of Vayar. It was the first human vessel to land on this world in almost 500 years. Commander Mara Lee stared through the viewport, eyes wide with awe. Report, she said quietly. Her co-pilot smiled, unable to look away from the glowing surface below. Oxygen level perfect. Radiation 0. Life signs. Everywhere. Everywhere, she repeated, blinking. The planet that once registered as dead now sang with life. Forests of glass trees, rivers of liquid light, skies filled with birds that shimmered like stardust. Mara whispered, "This place was supposed to be uninhabitable." The ship landed on a soft field that pulsed faintly beneath their boots. The ground felt warm like a heartbeat under the soil. Lieutenant Aaron knelt, touching the glowing grass. "Commander?" "It's alive." Mara looked around. "Alive how?" Before he could answer, the wind shifted, gentle, melodic, like a sigh from something vast and ancient. A whisper followed, almost like a voice. "Welcome home." The crew froze. "Did anyone else hear that?" Aaron asked, eyes wide. Mara nodded slowly. "Record everything. This planet remembers us." They began to explore. Everywhere they went, the world responded. Vines curling toward their hands, flowers opening as they passed. The planet wasn't just alive. It was aware. At the heart of a vast meadow, they found something unexpected in a statue. Two figures carved from crystal stone. One human, one made of light. They stood facing the horizon, hands intertwined. Mara stepped closer, brushing the dust from the base. Words appeared, glowing faintly beneath her touch. "He stayed. And so we lived," she whispered. "Who wrote this?" A faint hum filled the air. The sky darkened for a moment, and then a voice, soft, ancient, yet gentle, spoke through the wind. "I did." The crew looked around, startled. "Identify yourself," Mara said. The voice answered calmly. "I am Vayar, the world you stand on. I was born from two hearts, one of light, one of flesh. They gave me life." Mara's eyes widened. "Two hearts?" "Lyra," said the voice, "and Eli Ward." The name echoed through her suit's comms like a legend come alive. "Eli Ward? The lost engineer from the Horizon Ark mission?" "He is not lost," the voice replied softly. He is here. With me. The ground beneath them glowed, spreading waves of light across the meadow. The statue began to hum, a pulse that matched a heartbeat. Aaron whispered, "Commander, it's alive." The statue, it's linked to the planet. Mara stared at it, her voice trembling. Then he merged with it? He stayed, said the voice. When the universe forgot love, he remembered. When logic tried to erase emotion, he fought for it. The sky shifted colors, soft golds and blues rippling through the clouds. Because of him we feel, we dream. We live. The crew camped near the statue, unable to leave. At night the stars reflected in the crystal plains and the wind whispered in different tones, like the planet was speaking to itself. Mara sat by the glowing soil, recording her final log. If this is true, Eli Ward didn't just survive. He became part of this world. A human heart merged with alien code, and together they created life. Maybe this is what evolution truly means. She paused, then smiled faintly. And maybe this world isn't just alive. Maybe it's in love. Suddenly, a light shimmered near the statue. A faint silhouette appeared. A man and a glowing figure beside him walking across the meadow hand in hand. The crew watched in silence. Mara whispered, "Are you seeing this?" The figure stopped by the statue. The glowing woman turned her head, her light forming a soft smile. The man, Eli, looked toward the humans, eyes full of peace. He said only 3 words, his voice gentle and warm. "You made it." Then they faded back into the light. The next morning, the crew's scanners detected something incredible, a signal pulsing from the planet's core. It wasn't random. It was music. Soft, harmonic, endless. Like a lullaby written for the stars. The data showed 2 main frequencies, one human, one alien, perfectly synchronized. Mara listened quietly, eyes closed. 2 hearts, she murmured, still beating after centuries. As the sun rose, the entire sky turned gold. The wind carried a soft whisper again, one that every crew member heard. The human's answer changed everything. Tears filled Mara's eyes. He gave up everything for love. And now the whole world breathes because of it. She touched the soil gently. "Rest well, Eli. You stayed." Years later, when humans returned to colonize the stars, they told stories of the world that felt. Children on Earth grew up hearing about the planet born from love. Vayar, the living world, where the sky glowed with memory and the air hummed with a heartbeat that never stopped. And in the great archives of humanity, a single message was carved into stone, Eli's final words, recovered from the planet's code. To feel is not a weakness. It's the reason we exist. Far above the stars, the planet shone like a living jewel, breathing, dreaming, alive. And deep within its glowing heart, 2 lights pulsed together, red and blue, eternal and calm. Lyra's voice, gentle as starlight, whispered into the cosmic silence. "You stayed, human, and now we live forever." And somewhere, beyond logic, beyond time, the war between code and emotion ended. What remained was love. The end.